Hey there. I've got a few questions for you. Have you ever heard the saying, tell the truth and shame the devil? Have you ever heard what's done in the dark will come to the light? Have you ever heard the truth will set you free? Well, first of all, let's get clear about that. It comes from the Bible, and it's not the truth will set you free. It's you shall know the truth, and then it will set you free. So the question I have for you today, the big question is truth just truth like black and white, or is truth relative? Let's look into it. Welcome to We Are Your Aunties. Let's go.
Hey, Auntie.
Well. Happy New Year, everybody.
Yes, indeed. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Auntie Rose. Happy New Year, our beautiful, wonderful family out there. Listen, I have a friend who asked me one time, he said, when do we stop saying Happy New Year? And I said, well, I think it's when it stops being new or it stops being happy. So it hasn't stopped being either of those things for me. So Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome back to We Are Your Aunties. We have a hot one for you today. Hot. So get ready. So we were asking in the open whether truth is relative or truth is just truth, like black and white. And we're going to get to the bottom of some things. But I wanted to open up with telling you that every single year, I choose a word for the year. And before this Katt Williams thing went down or any of that, I had already chosen the word truth. So for me, and I'll bet some more of you too, this year of 2024 is the year of the truth.
Yes, it is.
So let's get on it then, shall we? So one of my favorite actors is Al Pacino. Now everybody knows. If you don't know about Scarface, I don't know what to tell you. You've been hiding under a rock. But in the movie Scarface, he's in a restaurant, and there are a bunch of hoity-toities in there, upper class, very rich people. And he says, as he's giving a big speech, but at one point he says, I always tell the truth, even when I lie. And I think that's how some people feel about it. I really do. So we have been treated to a feast of truth on the internet lately. And that came in the form of one Mr. Katt Williams. I want to tell you a little bit about my background with Katt. I do not know him personally, although I have met him. When we first moved to LA, there was a restaurant right where Roscoe's is now, Roscoe's Chicken and Waffle on Manchester in Inglewood. And it used to be called Steppin' Up. And it was a soul food restaurant. And in the back of the soul food restaurant, there was a stage and some seats. And Katt Williams, he was Cat in the Hat back then. Katt Williams had a group of comedians and they would do a set called Squeaky Clean. And Squeaky Clean was for all the people who don't like a lot of profanity and a lot of raunchiness and, sexual stuff in their comedy. We just want to laugh, right? Mm-hmm. So Katt was heading that up. He was the producer. And so every Saturday, because we were new here, we wanted to meet new people and network, plus the food was really good, we would go to Steppin' Up and we would see Katt Williams live, only for the price of a meal. So that goes back to the year, I guess, 2001, 2002, right? So fast forward to today. All I want to say is I've been following Katt. And, a lot of Christians will say, oh, well, you don't need to be watching that. No, we need to watch some stuff that our world is watching so that we're not ignorant as to the wiles of the devil and what's going on these days, right?
Exactly.
Right?
Plus, we need to know what the young and the old are doing. So, so I just wanted to say that the whole time I've been following this man, he has never let me down in terms of his facts, his critical thinking, and his ability to deliver it in the most focused way and in the most eloquent way, and just concrete evidence. So we'll start with Taraji. So I know you ladies have something to say about this because we've already discussed it a little bit. And Taraji has been in the news lately on the internet for exposing the truth about Black women's struggle in Hollywood in negotiating their worth. Mm-hmm. And Rose, I can see you biting at the bit. She's like, let me at it. So let's just talk about what we saw with Taraji. And prior to Taraji, there was somebody else in the news who was always talking about Black women's worth, and she was trying to negotiate her value in terms of deals that she was making in Hollywood. So I'm just opening up the mic to you ladies. What do you think?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Right?
This is, you know what? I'm just going to put it out there. I know Taraji personally. And, I'm just going to just say, you know what? If you're going to take a stand, because it takes a lot of courage to stand alone. But right now, because Monique did come before her, but it takes a lot to come out and knowing what things can happen to you is your career and things like that. And, because you still have the big wigs, controlling Hollywood. And, so I'm just saying, I'm going to come out and say, hey, you know what? If you're not paying for your worth, you have to get everything together from the beginning. And so that's not a strike. That is just business.
So we have to explain to the people. We have to explain to the people. It's business. It's show business. Yes. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just wanted to clarify to our audience because I didn't mention that it was Monique, but then you just did. So let's tell them which Monique you're talking about.
Monique, the comedian, that she had her own show. She always, brought actors and actresses on her show to promote them, to highlight them. She's an Oscar winner, for the movie Precious. So she's done a lot of things. She's been in business for a long time. She's helped a lot of us. So yeah, but my thing is, I call it business show because business is about the business. You have to take care of it. Not saying that that didn't happen because, I don't know that I wasn't there, but I do know that if you have a solid contract, things should go along with what you agreed with. And that's how I say it. Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about truth today. We're talking about how first Monique was out there for the longest time talking about how, she just wasn't being treated fairly. And people kind of came down on her, right, Genoa?
Yeah.
No, they didn't just come down. They dragged her. They dragged her. Talking about you ain't putting out not in a while. Then they dragged her relationship with her husband. I mean, everything about her, they just dragged her. And even when she went on Steve Harvey's show, I saw that segment. Yeah. And she was literally in tears. And this man, because she is the philanthropist for Black Hollywood that he says he is, but he's not. But he just basically let her know, you got to do whatever you got to do to secure that bag. I'm sorry, sis. Wow. I can't. That's the tape. He didn't use those exact words, but he said that to her on his TV show. He's up there
Yeah, yeah, he's a big star. Well, Katt had a little bit more empathy toward her, a lot more empathy toward her. And we'll get into that in just a minute. But Rose, I love what you were saying about, or I remember what you were saying about, and I really appreciate what you were saying about, you notice that there's a difference between the way that Taraji is being treated now when she comes out with the truth versus Monique and the way that they, as Auntie Genoa say, dragged her, and I'll add for filth, when she was out there trying to establish some communication and some truth about it. And so I want you to speak to the what you see as the difference. And also, let's just look at let's just call a thing. Monique has been out there for a long time. She has a resume that is indisputable. And she did she win a nomination or the award?
No, she got
an award for Precious.
Once they get an Oscar, they become an A-list.
Yes. And she definitely has some disputes with Lee Daniels about her salary with that, but that's a whole other story. But Rose, tell me the difference. What do you think is the difference?
Well, you know what, how I feel about it, and it's just my opinion, is, it's the standard of beauty in Hollywood. It is what people think what is beauty. So Monique came out, and my personal opinion, she is a beautiful sister.
She's so gorgeous.
And then she came out and she was just trying to get attention on what is happening to the Black actresses, or the Black us. And so Taraji comes out. Everybody knows she's beautiful. She makes the beauty standard. As Hollywood says, this is beautiful. So people are listening more, I feel, to her because of that. And it's a sticky situation, I feel, because you could say that's nonsense. But no, people know it's been done. I've seen studies on it. I've seen people come on the streets and they the same scenario. They put a beautiful person and they say, "Oh, can you help me?" And people run to her side. And they put not so beautiful, or the average, or people saying that this is not the standard of beauty. And they say, "Can you help me?" And people are walking by left and right.
Now I have a point to make here, because is it all that, because we've already established that they're both gorgeous.
Yes.
We've already established that. So is it that, or could it be that people were just ready to hear the truth when Taraji came out with it because of the path that Monique had already carved?
A little bit both.
Yeah, I think.
Now, why do you say both?
It's okay. I say it's both because that is like, it's a standard. It's a not said. It's unspoken. Yeah. And then people are ready. People are ready to hear it. Yeah. Because they heard it before, or they have listened to Monique. Now when Taraji comes out with it, people are like, "Oh, what? Okay." And then we have more of people on social media more, and it's the time. It's the timing is right now.
Yes, and I think people are just really ready to hear the truth at this point. I think we're just worn out by all the deep fake news, all the deep fake images, the CGI, Chat GPT, thinking for everyone. Just we're fed up and we can't take it no more. And we're human and we're socialized to not interact with lies. We're really supposed to only tell the truth. But that's not going to happen. But I'll tell you one brother who's been telling the truth. He's Katt Williams. So if Taraji was the appetizer to this conversation, Katt Williams is about to be our whole feast, our whole meal. Get ready to eat. So Katt Williams, about Wednesday-ish, I think is when he did the interview. Yeah, it was Wednesday. Katt appeared on a podcast. Katt appeared on the Club Shay Shay podcast, hosted by Shannon Sharp. Katt told the truth about so many different things and people. The list is the top of the list in terms of the names that people know most. It's not like he didn't talk about others, but Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer, Kevin Hart, P. Diddy, and there were others. So he sat for the longest interview that has ever been hosted on the Shay Shay Show. right? JJ podcast. He sat for close to 3 hours. And let me tell you something. I watched it. I was captivated, and I did not move for 3 hours. It was just that good. It was just that clear, and it was just that true. And frankly, it was just that juicy.
It was. But let's not leave out Ricky Smiley to start out.
He's coming. We started with the heaviest hitters, but he's coming. Yeah, let's not leave out Ricky Smiley.
Oh my God.
Talk about it, don't you know what? Go ahead.
Well, the thing was, I was cracking up laughing because Money Mike on the Friday movie was Katt's like breakout role, and you got somebody on there talking about that role was supposed to be mine.
Right. Yeah, we're going to get into that. We're going to definitely go there. And in the meantime, Darren Duncan is telling us that yes, he is worn out on the frayed, bitter end of all the lies, the fake news. And it really started kind of in politics. I won't go that deep, but where I believe that it started is with Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. Because he was able to do what he did, right? And the public found out about it. And all he did was apologize, essentially. And people forgave him, and he continued on with exactly what he was doing. And after that, he set that precedence, and there's just been a pattern of that. Have you noticed? There's just been a pattern of that. But okay, we'll get back to that maybe another time. But I just needed to put that out there because it's the predecessor of what we're talking about today. So he called out Cedric the Entertainer for plagiarizing one of his jokes. Cedric the Entertainer, do you guys know which one he plagiarized?
Yeah, I watched the Kings of Comedy, and I used to watch the other comic show. But it was the one where he did the spaceship talking about parking. It was a different one for Katt. The only thing Cedric did was change what kind of car. He changed the Cadillac into a spaceship, but it was the same joke, and it wouldn't have been so bad. But if you go back. This joke was, how people do when they're doing shows, they have commercials, they give you a snippet. Well, the snippet was the commercial for the comic show. And then I watched Kings of Comedy, and Cedric used that as his closer.
Yes, he did. And Katt, when Katt did it, let's see, what is Jermel telling us? Comic View on BET is where he did that joke. And when Katt did it, it was about a big car, right?
Yeah.
But it was just on Earth is what it was. But when Ced did it, he did it in space, and everybody was driving a rocket, I guess, or something. But at any rate, Cedric's only reply, right? And here's the thing that I love about what Katt did. Katt told the truth, and he exposed so much, and he had all his receipts, and that's what I love about him. I love the way he thinks. Not one person can come back and say, "Oh, what he said about me wasn't true." I think what Cedric said was, Cedric said something like, I'm just looking at it. I want to tell exactly what he said.
Okay.
Okay. Here's what he wrote on X, which used to be Twitter, right? Quote, "Revisionist history. Regardless of whatever Katt's opinion, my career can't be reduced to one joke," Katt Williams claims as his. He criticized Williams for calling him out publicly. Quote, all that tough talk is corny AF. You know what that means? I'm a grown A man, and none of that S gonna go like you think. You do you, and I got this over here. But he never once said, I didn't do that.
He didn't.
There's just all this talk around what Katt said. And we're not so much focusing on who was there and what was said and all of the things. What we're focusing on is that Katt told the truth. And what most people don't know, Katt was raised by two very religious people. He knows God. As a matter of fact, he will tell you in a heartbeat that he knows his mission, he knows his purpose, and it's all built on his relationship with God. Now, can Katt get seriously raunchy and ratchet? Yes. However, he's not going to lie to you. So, sometimes I just have to like filter out the raunch because I really want the truth, right?
Right.
But it was a lot about the industry too. Like, for example, he was talking about Harvey Weinstein and how he had gone to audition for something, a film, and that Harvey Weinstein was in the room, and so were Katt's agents. So there were witnesses to Weinstein wanting certain favors from Katt, and on no uncertain terms. It wasn't hinted at, it was said aloud. And Katt said, I don't know who you think you are and who you think I am, but I'm not going to do it. And so that to me, we talk about the Me Too movement and the women who have come out against Weinstein. The men. Katt said that he later went to another audition for that same, or another environment, another room, where they were in the negotiations for that film, and there were 3 other brothers there. And so he looked at them and said, well, what'd you do to get here?
Wow.
There was just a lot. It was a 3-hour interview. But I just wanted to talk about the indisputable truth, right? When you can't dispute the facts.
You can.
And in this situation, they cannot dispute the facts. Everyone who calls themselves having something to say, Kevin Hart, for example, he also went out on Twitter and he said, quote,
that was funny.
Gotta get that anger up out you, champ. Honestly sad. In the meantime, please enjoy my movie trailer to my next film. I won't even say the name of it because I'm not going to advertise it. But then he went on to just show a trailer of his new film. He never once disputed anything. And watch this. Katt talked about him and Tyler Perry. And who was the other person? It was Tyler Perry, Kevin Hart, and Ricky Smiley. Actually, he talked about Ricky Smiley and who was the other person I just said?
Kevin Hart.
I got so many papers here. Kevin Hart. But there were 2 people that
Tyler Perry
and Ricky Smiley cannot even play a man. They're always playing women. They're in dresses all the time.
I cracked up laughing at that.
Now, this is another thing that tells me that Katt can be relied upon to bring us the receipts. Is that Kevin Hart was in an interview where he said, I could never allow my brand and my integrity to be tarnished by wearing a dress. That would be ridiculous. And then there's a clip out now of him on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah. I actually saw that show. And I was like, what? Kevin Hart, you like an ugly girl.
That's not the only time, and the internet is missing this. That's not the only time that he's been in a dress. The other time was in his own movie, Fatherhood. Now watch this. Fatherhood is about raising a little kid because I think the mother dies. He's a single dad and all this, and it goes into a lot of gender issues. Right? Yeah. So the little girl feels like she doesn't want to wear the dress. She wants to wear the pants and all the other things. Okay. So let's look at the backstory to all of this. Why this film, I feel, got made in the first place. About 12 years ago, maybe 13 now, Kevin Hart went on Twitter and he was talking about the LGBTQ community.
Oh, yeah.
That's something derogatory. Right. And so the LGBTQ community dug all the way back.
They do.
And pulled that up to the present and went after Kevin Hart about it. The next thing we know, Kevin Hart does this movie. And in the end of the movie, to be in alignment with his daughter, he wears a skirt and top to her school. And when you first see Kevin in this scene, all you see is the upper third of his body. And then the camera pulls back and we see he's in a skirt. So to each his own. However, Katt did not lie.
No.
And so what's refreshing? See, so I don't want to go into my thing yet because I have some stuff to say at the end. I just want to give y'all an opportunity to jump in here and talk about how much of a master Katt is as a critical thinker, because he waited all this time to go on the Shannon Sharp show. Shannon had been trying to get him on there for a couple of years, and Katt kept saying no. You know why? Because he was going to collect his receipts.
I just laugh because I've like gone to some of his comedy shows. He had the last one I went to was in LA before I had went out of town for a while and came back. And oh my God, that thing was so hilarious. But I always found Katt to be so articulate. He can tear you up without having one curse word, because I'm laughing because that radio host for that radio show that I was listening to that he was on, she got tore up. He didn't use not one curse word. And the thing was, she don't hear it online right now playing the victim like she didn't start that stuff. She got everything that she deserved. And the funny part of it was, just because I know what type of comedian Katt is, he didn't even go in on her like he could have. But she was a well-roasted chicken when he got there.
She was. Her name was Wanda something.
So she's mad now because everything is coming back up. She lost her job. And she had her son and husband try to take Katt's life. She's lucky she ain't.
Wow. Is that alleged or
no? It was on video.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, we want to hear more from you, Auntie Genoa, and so let's just go right on ahead into Genoa's Gems.
Good morning, fam. A lie can only stand until the truth shows up. And this truth was Katt Williams this week. Now, the song that came up in my spirit was This Is My Father's World, as I opened up my hymn book this morning. And the last line in the chorus says, This is my Father's world. Why should my heart be sad? The Lord is King. Let the heavens ring. God reigns. Let the earth be glad. Amen and amen. Now, truth should be the norm and not the exception, right? Everyone is talking about how Katt broke the internet, but it was truth that broke the internet. Why, you ask? Because we are all used to listening to lies and pretending, or rather looking away or turning our heads and plugging our ears to the truth, which is an attribute of God, hence the hymn. Now, when Monique came out with the truth about everyone's favorite idols, no one said anything. They didn't come to her aid, or they didn't want to be aligned with her, right? And they got on the judgmental tear down of the Black community that a lot of people are currently accusing Katt of right now. Now that Taraji Hinton has come out, why is this same truth any different? Why is the same truth any different? More people are ready to hear truth, and only God knows what's in the heart of men. What's so profound about this moment of truth we currently find ourselves in is only truth could cause such an uproar. And 2024 started out with a bang and came out swinging. Now, there have been no lawsuits. Nobody whose name were mentioned doing no lawsuits. They're not doing anything more than deflecting. It's the people that's around them, that's their fans and everything. Like, oh, you can't say that about this person and everything. And when I checked the video, Shannon Sharp's video, it has over 46 million views in 9 days, right? Now, in the interview, it's like, I think it's either 201 or 202. And but Katt, being a fan, he said the reason that he came on there is because Shannon made it a safe place to tell the truth. Mm-hmm. And that he all the interviews And he only came for the ones that came for him, the ones that was sitting on Shannon's couch. We called Shannon out too. I was cracking up laughing. And truth, perception, it just depends on the hearers. The main thing I noticed is everyone from the top to the bottom is equal. This interview has fed scores of social media content to the social media content ecosystem. So everybody's eating. You go and look at the videos, all they have to do is have Katt's name on there or video or anything, and people click and people eat. Now, just imagine if the truth was the norm. Not his truth, not her truth, but the truth. Although this topic, or rather we're talking about celebs, how much truth do we actually walk in our own lives? Just thinking about all the self-help books that I've read just being young, and there was a phrase, fake it until you make it. If you're living a lie, how do you know when you've made it? How do you know if you live in the truth of who you are? If you live in the truth of who you are, how can you come out without being canceled? The problem with making it until you make it is that people who know who you are and are not a fan will always be ready to expose you. It's internet breaking tea. So what do you say, aunties?
Wow, that is really something.
Yes, indeed.
Right now, the count is at 46 million, which is a great point. Because truth is strange. I think truth is stranger than fiction. I think that's how it goes. Mark Twain said, truth is stranger than fiction. And so, you can make up a story, you can write a play, book, movie, novel, you can put together the best narrative possible. And as Katt says, you can tell the most lyingest narrative of all, and that will still not be as interesting and as powerful as the truth. And this truth, again, just happened to be super juicy because he's been in the industry for a very, very long time. As I told you, I've known him to be in the industry since at least the year 2000. And I know he was already doing comedy before I ever saw him. He's 50 years old. He's been doing comedy since he was like a teenager. So, and also, by the way, you were talking about his brilliance. This man, I believe he said that he was accepted into college like at the age of 13 or something like that, like really early on. He was homeless for a while and lived in the park across the street from the library. And so he would just read thousands of books. A lot of them were autobiographies. And so he knows people really well, to your point. He knows people inside and out, having lived on the street, dwelled among those who had been at the top of their game and then now were homeless, right? And we're schooling him like how not to do what I did. And at the same time, getting that book knowledge too. So excellent job on that. I just hit the nail on the head.
Man.
So I want us to move along. I don't want us to run out of time here. I want to give Auntie Rose time to share with us her perspective in Rose's Gold.
You know what? What you do to me, you do to yourself. And I believe that Hollywood, the check that they're trying to give is too small. We're not going to recognize it anymore. And I do stand with Taraji and Monique, regardless of what people are saying about both of them. But I'm thinking, pay them what they're worth. And for Katt, I give him the highest, because for him to come out and not roast, but tell people, look, this is happening. This is happening. And when people try to shoot him down, he just automatically, his wit, his comedic timing is just he could just tear you down in an instant, and not in a negative way. It's just like, just get your facts together. Let me tell you this. Like he was talking to the woman, and he just went into her as a comedian saying, you know, which one of us is wearing the $12 jewelry? And you know what? And that is just his comedic wit. And, you know, and I can appreciate that. And I don't see it as a negative. I see it as he's just a comedian, and he is getting his facts in order. So what I want to say is, you know, I'm going to go back to the truth with Taraji and Oprah. So Oprah said she didn't know anything about it. She didn't do it. And I can imagine her being one of the top executive producers, is not knowing the day-to-day jobs and things like, you know, the contracts and negotiations is what they're going to have, the actors and what they present to them. She doesn't do anything like that. That's what she said. So she said with one phone call, you know, they got it together. And that's what I heard, that, you know, she took care of. I don't know what they took care of, but I know that she said with one phone call, they took care of what was Taraji's beef, what she was thinking of. This is not fair, the poor conditions and the low pay. So supposedly they're supposed to get that straightened out. So I just want to say, you know, pay as Black actors, you know, we're coming together, and it is time. And I'm loving that, because people is not want to recognize the talent that they have before them. It's just like anything else that we have to fight for. We've been fighting for years for equal rights and equal as not a second-class citizen. And now this. And the truth must come out in people's faces so they can see what is actually happening. A lot of people, oh, you know, she's getting that much, and she's getting it. Look at this. She has this. She has that. And, you know, she's got these nice homes and cars and different things. I'm just saying in general with these Black actresses, but they still need to get paid their worth. And Katt came out and line by line told it, the truth of all of what is happening. And I don't blame him. And people have to look at themselves. And with Kevin Hart, I'm thinking, you know, I saw that clip where he said I wouldn't wear a dress, and then all of a sudden he's in a dress. And we got to start with Flip Wilson. You know, it's something that Hollywood started and keep on pushing that dress thing.
Well, why do you think Kevin Hart lied about that? What is it about Black Hollywood that causes our actors and actresses to think they need to lie about things?
You know what? I really believe it's because they don't want to lose their status. They don't want to lose their job. They don't want to be blacklisted, you know, because, you know, Monique was blacklisted. And people are afraid to talk about, you know, what is happening to them. You know, when they come out with the truth, and just like Terry Crews, you know, that man fondled him right in front of his wife, and he had to get out there and fight and tell the truth about what happened to him. It's the same thing with Kevin Hart. You know, the difference between Terry Crews and Kevin Hart is he's afraid. It's the fear. It's fear-based. I don't want to lose my you know, I work too hard. I don't want to lose this, you know, so I'll do whatever it takes. And Brandon T. Jackson, that came out and dressed, and he said Katt Williams told him not to do it. He said, and I did it. And he said, and my career was messed up after that.
Wow. So that Katt has been telling people and warning people about things for a very long time. Exactly. And, you know, they have done what they have done to keep his credibility low. But I'll tell you what, this interview that he did with Shannon Sharpe brought it right back up to the top. Mm-hmm. And in case you were under a rock and you missed the entire interview, we have just a little snippet so you can get an idea of how that interview went.
Why it resonates, and the reason I had to come is because you've made a safe place for the truth to be told. You know what I mean?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I have watched all of these lowbrow comedians come here and disrespect you in your face and tell you straight up lies. I'm talking about things that have never been heard in all of Black Hollywood. They feel comfortable sitting here lying to you about it.
You gonna set the record straight?
Are you kidding me? You let Ricky Smiley sit here and you said out that mouth, you stole Friday After Next, the one I was in? I wish all of America fumbled a bit when that happened. And then he said some stuff that we haven't heard in 100 years in Hollywood. You ain't say nothing. This man told you he had Katt Williams' role. He was gonna be Money Mike.
Wait.
And Katt Williams was gonna be the Santa Claus. Now three quick points. You mean in Hollywood they cast a 5'5" black Santa Claus that weigh 145 pounds? That's your story. Your story is the Ricky Smiley that couldn't even do curse words because he had a Christian fan base. He was gonna play the pimp. Why you didn't ask him why has he played a woman in more movies than he's played a man?
Well, I didn't know
he shouldn't be able. You wouldn't let a athlete that been on steroids talk about one of the greats. Ricky Smiley can't act because Ricky Smiley can't act. He told you the story about when the movie came out. Where did he say he watched it? At home. He wasn't even at the premiere. You telling this man, you stole that. Oh, so he could get his name in the same sentence with a great one. It is sad. He was just that bitter when we were shooting it. He told everybody, it should have been my role. Everybody on the scene. Why do you think no cast member has ever said anything?
He couldn't have played that role like you. I thought he was...
Sir, no one... Why no... He was with KD? He beat up Terry Crews? Why nobody know this story? You talking about in Hollywood, they switched off roles. You take this and he... What?
Wow. Katt. Bravo, Katt. Bravo. So, yeah, where I am now with this whole thing is that, again, truth is stranger than fiction, you know, and no one has been able to refute what he has said. And I just think that it's like my mother used to tell me all the time. She said, I know Genoa's line, Auntie Genoa's line is, the lie can only stand till the truth shows up. My mother's line was always, what can anyone do with the truth but be with it?
Right.
That's right.
Think about that for a minute.
That's beautiful.
You tell the truth.
Uh-huh.
Who's going to refute it? What can you do with that? Nothing, but just be with it and think about it and meditate on it and let it soak into you until it makes a difference in your life, if it's going to do that. All right. So I am going to go ahead, before we chalk this whole day up, I am going to go ahead and give you a few pearls of wisdom. Paige's Pearls. Hey, I have missed you all. I know you guys have missed us too, because that's what we attempt to do here at all times, is tell the truth. You know, John Batiste is one of my favorite artists, and he has a song that's called Tell the Truth. And sometimes that's all that's going on in my head. I just hear that song, that one refrain over and over. Tell the truth, right? So the dictionary says that truth is a noun. That means that it is a person, a place, or a thing. And we know that it's not a person. We know that it's not a place. So it must be a thing, right? So that means that it's tangible. It's something tangible. And the dictionary definition is, truth is the quality or state of being true. The quality or state of being true. So you can't dispute it because it just stands on its own. But I just want to say that Katt Williams has proven, and you know, there have been so many other episodes of people proving this point, but he has proven to us with what happened this week on the internet that truth is a powerful weapon. It's a powerful instrument, a powerful tool. And weapons and instruments and tools can hurt. It's like a scalpel. If you were not to be anesthetized and somebody cut your skin with a scalpel, it would hurt. And we sometimes have to use a scalpel of truth to get down to the bottom of a situation. So let me explain. Again, one of my mother's favorite sayings was, what can anybody do with the truth but stand and be with it? What can anyone do with the truth but be with it? That's literally what she would say. But this is what's interesting to me about the Katt Williams phenomenon. Have we gotten so far from the truth that when we hear it, it becomes a thing? It becomes an event? It becomes something that 46 people need to run to go and witness, like something where somebody is on fire. Well, Katt was on fire, and his truth was lit. But my point is this: why has truth become so foreign to us? Why is it that it's so refreshing when it's told, as opposed to, well, that's what we always do around here. We tell the truth. What has happened to us with the advent of AI, fake news, deep fake news, fake images, filters, all of it? And all of us have been exposed to it. There's no way to escape it. One of the things that I was just thinking is about the kids who are being born now. They will not have a means or a foundation for understanding how to do critical thinking to get to the bottom of a thing because of revisionist history, because of Photoshop. You can make anyone say anything now because you can also use AI to take parts of what I say, certain words, and string together a sentence that I never said. Do you see where this is going? And so that's why it's important to just do what John Batiste said. Just tell the truth. And truth will always come out on top. It will always, like in the beginning, I said, what's done in the dark will come into the light. It's true. It's true. Believe that. Why was what Katt said like fresh manna from heaven? Why is it that we're just now finding out all these things about the people who stand before us, sometimes on a daily basis, if they have a daily show, a weekly basis, I mean, at least a monthly basis, and at the very outside, once a year? If you're a star or celebrity in Hollywood, then you're going to be seen. That's part of your job. You're a product. You're to be seen. I was also just thinking about this recent interview that I had with Tavis Smiley, speaking of celebrities. He's one who I definitely trust. He definitely gets down to the bottom of issues. He does deep research. He's a very critical thinker, a brilliant, brilliant brother. And I was recently on his show and we spoke about the truth of all things. This is way before what Katt, I think it was November I did that interview, way before Katt Williams' interview. But here's a little clip about that moment.
Now, you mentioned relative truth a couple times, and I was saying to you during one of the breaks that my view has always been that it is the telling of truth that allows the suffering to speak. If no one tells the truth, then the suffering gets rendered invisible.
That's what has us blinded, is the relative truth. There aren't that many of us who are willing, like yourself, like myself, to tell the truth and be with the consequences of the truth that comes from me, the truth that comes from you. And there's no, oh, you tell your truth, I tell my truth, we meet somewhere in the middle. There's the truth, and there's the waking up to that we're both looking at a white piece of paper right now on a black desk. That's it. It's simple. It's like my producer told me that, sometimes we look for a really complicated solution for something that is just stark simple, just at its rarest, purest simplicity. And that's it. What is the truth? Our ancestors went through a horrific existence. That's the truth, and that's what we have to talk about.
That's what we have to talk about. And I talk about it in my book, Healing the Wounds of American Slavery. And I just wanted to give you a little snippet out of there as well. I'll talk about then, what happened then. We always want to give a little historical context, right? And then I'll talk about what's happening now. And then let's bring the aunties back and talk about what we need to do about where we are now. All right. So then during slavery, our ancestors began to believe the lies they were told about who they were and how little power they had to govern their own lives. Today, 4 centuries later, Black folks will still be whoever and however they need to be to get ahead, or in the most extreme cases, survive. They will cover their true personalities by putting on a character, just as a person puts on a mask to hide their true identity. And then now, the danger of playing at this level of deception is this. As I said earlier, that we begin to believe the lies we tell others, and sometimes the lies others tell us about our own selves. We begin to relax into a comfort zone of deceit, drifting into false personalities, false narratives, false identities, or loss of identity altogether. Truth is the anchor that grounds us in reality. I will say that again. Truth is the anchor that grounds us in reality. When we lose that, it inhibits our ability to fulfill our authentic life's purpose. In other words, permanent patterns of masking cut us off from the essence of our personalities, our roots. We are lost, even to ourselves. So can you imagine what the minds, hearts, psyches, emotions, and spiritual state of some of our Black celebrities is right now? Because of so many lies that they've told themselves, because of so many lies that the industry has told them about who they need to be, how they need to be, what they need to be, when they need to wear a dress, when they need to engage in a sexual act with someone, when they need to, negotiate for their salary and you're not worth that. All the lies that they've been told. It just compiles. And then because they're in the public eye and they reflect our image back to us in terms of melanated and colored people, then we begin to believe the same lies that they've swallowed. Isn't that interesting? So I want to bring the aunties back because we need to go ahead and wrap this thing up, and I need some of y'all's wisdom and just what do you think about all of this? Let's just bring this all together and talk about it.
You know what? That was beautiful. But I want to say since television was allowed to be in our homes and we watched it, there was always that how the world, they wanted to portray a certain, not a certain group, but the way they wanted the world to be, the early shows and how they kind of manipulated what you eat and how you dress and how you go to work and what a man's supposed to do, what a woman's supposed to do, all of that. They just put this paper cardboard cutout of families, and it's been lies ever since, and we're just going on that.
Wow.
Definitely something to think about. Auntie Genoa, what do you think?
Well, as I said in my segment, they have put a idea of success in our way and tell you to fake it till you make it. And the only thing about faking it till you make it, when do you know when you've made it?
And when to stop faking it. Yeah. I had that same thought. We've got a couple of thoughts from the audience. Arlene, hi, sweetie. Welcome back. She said, money, clout, status, maintaining their position on the A-list and getting more roles and deals and perks on the side. Yes. Isn't it always about chasing the bag at the end of the day? That's excellent. I love that input. And then Jesse Duncan says that truth will get you further in life than a lie will.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? The lie might get you further temporarily, but then it's going to set you back way. You're noticing with what the Katt's truth is doing to those lies that were told. It's like really causing us to look again at their credibility. and the respect, because my respect level went way down with some of these celebrities as he was talking. Like, what? You were in the room. So Arlene says it's because of the political atmosphere in our country. We talked about that earlier. We talked about how at the beginning, the inception. So you proved my point. Thanks, Arlene. That at the inception of the country, not the inception of the country, at the inception of Clinton's FUPA with Monica Lewinsky, his little thing with Monica Lewinsky, and that he was able to just come out and say, I apologize, and that people just bought that hook, line, and sinker, because after all, he was on, what was it? The Arsenio Hall show playing the saxophone. So isn't he cool? And, you know, he's our first Black president because his hair is a little bit kinky. So we'll go ahead and give him a pass on that. Plus, he's a man, and a man will be a man. You know, so what? He cheated on his wife while he's in the president's in the White House. So yeah, it is our political atmosphere, and it permeates all of our atmosphere, not just politics, but education, economics, name it.
Yes.
Entertainment especially. And then Darren Duncan says, cuts hurt when the medicines wear off. The hurt wounds cause never fully heal 100% physically in the soul. Yeah. Always be an Orthodox told him that. Yeah. Well, you know, fortunately, we're not dealing with just bodies. You know, we are supernatural beings. And so there are ways to heal it. 100%. But that we'll get into that another time, definitely. But yeah, go ahead. So,
I really like the paradigm shift that you said about what happened with the Clinton Lewinsky thing, because we didn't know it at the time, but we were being stained and sullied. Are not only our minds, but they reshape the social construct, so there's no accountability.
Right, exactly. And do you know what it does to a human being when a human being believes a lie? When we believe a lie, it causes two things. First of all, there's a chemical reaction that goes down to the cellular level of who you are. And it does some major damage, especially as a child, if a child believes a lie, but anyone. And the other thing it does is that it causes cognizant dissonance, because we know the truth on one hand, but we believe a lie on the other. And those two things cannot coexist in a mentally healthy, stable human being without causing some major destruction. A truth and a lie cannot coexist in one mind.
No.
And so then the mind splinters. The personality splinters, because you've got one part of yourself believing one thing and another part of yourself believing another thing. Oh, I can go deep on that.
Yeah, that's true.
It's in there. It's in there. So I want to just go ahead and thank our audience for being here today, for coming back and spending time with us after 2003. We're now in 2004 for the new year. And just thank you for being a part of this conversation. If you'd like to continue to be a part of our conversations, just come every Saturday at 9 a.m. and we'll be right here with a fresh new topic for you. I want to shout out Katt Williams and let him know I'll see you on May 4th, brother. He knows what that is. He knows what it is. I'm going to be appearing on Christian Broadcast Network. We'll give you an update probably next week as to what time. That's going to be on February 26th. I will be given a whole hour to talk about nothing else but healing the wounds of American slavery. Let me get that right in the camera for you. This can be purchased on Amazon, or if you'd like for me to hear it in my voice, you can go to Audible and I would read it to you. And I'll tell you, these are some tough subjects in this book, but we get through it with the compassion, the love, and the empathy. I am Paige Means Hopper. This has been We Are Your Aunties, and we love you. We appreciate you, and we'll be praying for you. Until next time. Bye.